I need to say this quietly so the game can't hear me. If we win every one of our games between now and the end of the season, we'll win the double. Don't tell the game. Hello and welcome to part 165 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have an FA Cup quarter-final away against Championship side Burton and then a Premier League game at home against Tottenham. Since you were last with me, our form has been nothing short of sensational. Again, don't tell the game this either. We haven't yet lost a game in 2038 in any competition, and we've only drawn 3 of them. So if we win every game between now and the end of the season, we'll definitely win the FA Cup, obviously, because we're still in that. And I think there's a very good chance we'll win the league as well. Wolves were top of the league when we just beat them 4-1. Southampton were in 5th place when we beat them 3-0. Blackburn have been in the Champions League this season. We beat them 5-0 with our reserve team, or a rotated team anyway, not full-on reserves. But, you know, Oliveira in goal. It's sort of reserves-ish. We've just been in incredibly good form, and this is how the Premier League table looks. With 8 games remaining, it is tight at the top. We do still have to play both Manchester City and Manchester United. We've already played and beaten Wolves, but they're still 3 points ahead of us. But we do have better goal difference than them. I'm not sure if they still have to play any other major teams. I don't want to look yet because I don't want the game to realise what I'm up to. I'm just casually going about my business, pretending I don't know what's happening. But with 8 games remaining, with 3 points behind the team that we just thumped in the league, Wolves, level on points for Manchester City, who we still have to play. They do have a game in hand on us and better goal difference. I mean, I'm still not expecting us to win the Premier League. We don't beat Man City and Man United. We've proven that multiple times over recent seasons. So, in light of the fact we've still got to play them both, we're not going to win the league. We are going to get into the Champions League this season, though, and we might just win the FA Cup for the second time, which would also be awesome. And Charlie Jones is the 25-30 goal a season striker we've been looking for. Still top scorer in the Premier League, 22 goals so far this season. He's now played the last 3 games for England and scored his first England goal as well. But he's a goal machine. He is the man, and at age just 22, things are only going to get better from Charlie Jones. I think we're nearly there. We nearly have the team, the 11 that will finish this series. I think. Right, hold on. Let's make a prediction. We're 2 more major signings away from the team that wins the Champions League. Or fails and ends it. Either way, 2 more major signings. Maybe 3. This is the team we're putting out there for the FA Cup quarter-final against Burton. And it is a rotated side because it's Burton. They're in the Championship. I'm not that bothered about winning the FA Cup. I just want to kind of stay in it for momentum. But I don't want to risk any injuries. So anyone who's looking a little bit tired is out of the team. So we've got Oliveira in goal, a back four, Sretenovic, Deothin, Ripert and Sanchez, with Wanda, Camonero and Kovacevic in midfield, and Fernandez in behind Jokic and Jones. Even Igor Jokic is starting to look a little bit like a footballer on this little run. If we have a look at his recent form, he scored a goal in his last game. His game before that, he scored 2 goals. And got 2 assists. That was in the FA Cup against Blackburn. See, told you it was a bit of a rotated side. But he's on 3 goals from 2 games. And I didn't play him for the 3 games in the middle because Kerr and Jones have been so good. But Jokic gets another opportunity to partner Jones today. Jones will not play this full match unless it's looking desperate. I would like job done by half-time, get Jones off, is my plan. Oh, and meet Maximiliano Riley, our 16-year-old 5-star potential Argentinian goalkeeper who's just come through the youth team. Yeah, that's right. We've had a 5-star potential player come through our youth team. In fact, it's not 1 but 2, I think. If we just head down into the under-18s, we've actually had our first decent youth intake. So Riley, as a backup keeper, we can finally let Marshall Walk go in the summer. Riley's just going to straight away become our 3rd choice keeper. I mean, he's already nearly as good as Marshall Walk. He's got 5-star potential. He's our 3rd choice keeper for next year. But Mark Ricketts is another youngster, 15 years old, English right back, 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. Give you some context, he's only half a star behind Carlos Sanchez and Wanda as a right back at age 15 and has the potential to get much, much better. He's going to be in the squad before the end of this save. Maybe not next season, he's only 15 and I don't necessarily want a 15-year-old right back in our Champions League squad, but he's close. We've got 2 for the first time. It's only taken 21 seasons, but we've actually had 2 come through at once. Our youth team, all that money we've spent on the youth team in recent years, is finally starting to pay off, and we have been throwing cash at it. We now have good youth facilities, average youth recruitment, good junior coaching. We'll throw more cash at it every time they let us. Can we throw more cash at it yet? No. Every opportunity I get, we're throwing cash around. We might even have stuff going on at the moment. There you go. We're currently improving the youth facilities and the training facilities and expanding the stadium again because we're throwing money around. Let's get into this game against Burton. You can tell I'm excited. I am buzzing now. I can see the finish line. We just need to not mess up. And I don't even necessarily even mean this season. I now see the finish line for Backing the Boro. It's the first time probably since maybe the 3rd season. I think once we failed at getting promoted from the Conference North twice, at that point I thought, you know what, we might not win the Champions League here. And every other step along the way since, that's what we've been aiming for, but I've always worried we might run out of time. As I sit recording this in the first week of September, with the new game still 2 months away, I can taste it. We're going to win the Champions League, boys and girls. We are going to complete this save. But a lot does ride on how this season goes, but not the FA Cup. I just don't care. We've already won it. It would be lovely to win it again. And if we wrap the league up with 3 games to go, then we'll play a full-strength team in the FA Cup semi-final if we get there. But if we get knocked out today, that's also not the end of the world because our one and only focus is on the Premier League. We might never get an opportunity this good to win the league, where with 8 games to go, the only team ahead of us on points is a team that has also never won the Premier League and are also playing out of their skin this season and who we've just thumped. Both Man City and Man United are having relative off-seasons compared to the dominance they've had recently. They won't have 2 off-seasons in a row. We've seen this shape of sort of history from teams like that in the past. We saw it in non-league to legend this year. Man United had their off-season. The Arsenal nipped in, won the league. But the next season, Man United just strengthened and came back better than ever. And that's kind of what I expect them to do in summer this time round. So this is our opportunity to win the Premier League. Right, we've taken off Kovacevic because he's still coming back from injury. And we've playing Taylor Flynn in midfield. We've actually played in there a few times. He's not got much as a striker anymore, but Ruud Gullit style, as he's got older, we're just moving him further back. And he's a perfectly adequate midfield player. And we are running a little bit lower midfield players because of an accumulation of injuries. We're also going to take off Jones with half an hour to go, just because we don't want to risk him. Bring on Kieran Kerr. We did have Lazic on the bench as well, who hasn't played for months. Not through injury, just because I think I'm probably done with him. But he was going to be the guy who came on for Jones if we were 3-0 up by the time the substitution was made. As it turns out, we're 1-0 down. This is why I shouldn't start episodes in a positive and exciting mood, because stuff like this happens to us. I do emphasise again, it doesn't really matter. But then you play Championship opposition in the FA Cup quarter-final and you feel like, well, maybe that was our opportunity to win something this season. But either way, we're making the changes. I don't want to risk an injury to Jones. That sends a message even bigger than the team we selected to start the game. The fact that we concede a goal and immediately take off the best striker in the country. Because I just don't want to risk breaking him. I'd rather get knocked out of the FA Cup and keep Jones fit. Kerr is in, and Kieran Kerr grabs an immediate equaliser. You lot have been crying out in the comments for about 2 seasons for me to play Kieran Kerr as an advanced forward. I have been doing it every now and again, particularly when he partners Jokic, because Jokic is slowly turning into a complete forward, despite previously not being able to play there. But he's proven he's not an advanced forward. So when I play this combination, I do tend to do it this way round. And Kerr's a useful advanced forward. If Jones wasn't scoring so many goals, I'd swap him over. Right, Jokic is not having a great game. Can Lazic play as a complete forward? No, so I'm not going to make that substitution because it just seems silly. What else can I do to try and change the game? Lazic is really the only attacking player we've got. I guess we could take off Ripert, who's on a yellow card and struggling a little bit, so Ferguson can come on for him. Another change, purely in the interests of trying to preserve our team. We've got 2 defenders who both want to cover. Well, they can't both cover. You're just going to have to be a central defender on defend. And hopefully Burton don't score here. I thought that was a save from Oliveira, but it's gone straight to be a goal kick, so obviously it just went over. But it looked like it was a save. A last-minute winner would be handy now, because we don't really want to replay. Do you have replays at this stage, or does it go to extra time? Sanchez. Cross comes in towards Fernandez, and it's cleared only as far as Jokic, who can't square it. I vaguely remember it going to extra time in an FA Cup quarter-final before, despite the fact that it's not on a neutral territory, it's not a two-leg thing. I don't think there'll be a replay if this is a draw. I wonder if we can then make a fourth substitution if it does go to extra time. This is where I prove I don't know how the FA Cup works. I think this is going to be extra time. It is extra time. See, Kev understands football. Right, now we are going to bring Lazic on, because Jokic has just been rubbish, and Lazic, last chance saloon. It does mean Kerr going back over to being the complete forward, because Lazic just can't do it. But Lazic has scored goals, important goals, from time to time, particularly in our Europa League run last season. Lazic did score a few goals. So it's not that there's nothing there at all, talent-wise. It's just that he doesn't seem cut out to be a Premier League player. But of course, we're not playing against Premier League opposition. The Championship might be Lazic's level, and he might just grab a goal and secure himself a transfer to someone in the Championship in the summer, because I think his contract's up in the summer. I'm not planning on renewing it. We're letting Lazic leave. But it would be nice for him to get us into the FA Cup final on his way out the door. 15 more. I don't want penalties. I don't really want to labour this far to whatever the result is now. We've had a difficult challenge away against Burton. Hopefully this will be the thing that we can then use to motivate the players for the rest of the season. The team talk will be, yeah, but don't play as badly as you did against Burton, you idiots. We've got a Premier League to try and win. So this might actually end up being the perfect motivational tool that we need. But at the same time, can we just finish the job off now, lads, one way or the other? I'm not bothered if we go. I just don't want penalties. Penalties take forever. Wanda to Cannavaro. What's his name? Not Cannavaro. That was that defender fella. See? More football. Kev's full of football knowledge today. I've become like a footballing encyclopedia. There we go. We finished the job one way or the other. Can't believe it's taken us to extra time. But at least we don't have to worry about this. I wanted to win it. Who am I kidding? I wanted to win it. I should have played a full-strength team. I know I'm getting slaughtered for playing the reserves in an FA Cup quarter-final, but it will all. If we end up winning the league now, you're contractually obliged to forgive me for not trying hard enough to win this game, because it will be. I'll have been proven right. If we now finish fourth, it would have been nice to win the FA Cup to go along with it, but there's no way of knowing, is there? You have to cut your cloth accordingly. Are we going to stay in this stupid competition now? Oh, I thought Fernandez was going to get an immediate equaliser and we were going to have penalties after all. I'm here writing our tournament obituary and we're still attacking. We've still got players who actually do want to win it. I can't remember his name. Can't say his name. Oh my word, we have scored a last-minute equaliser and it's Lazic. And their keeper has now got to go into a penalty shootout off the back of an absolute howler. Backdoor Kev. Is Backdoor Kev around, anybody? Let's look at this again, because this is mad. Caminero, that's his name. Right, defender and goalkeeper. That is a shambles. Lazic is there to tuck it away. He has grabbed us an incredibly important goal on his way out of the club. And we now get the opportunity to backdoor a place into the FA Cup semi-final. I mean, I've already done the obituary. Right, confirm changes. Let's just see what happens. Do we have ABBA penalties in this tournament? It doesn't look like we do. It's old school penalties in the FA Cup, apparently. So, 1-0 down. I don't remember the last time I commentated on a penalty shootout. Caminero, there you go. I know his name now. Weeks. Hopefully he's got. I mean, that is revenge for me confusing him with an old Italian man. We kind of need Oliveira to step up a bit now, because if we go all the way to penalties and then still bottle it, this is just silly. Oliveira, what a man. What a man. One day he'll be our first choice keeper. Taylor Flynn, I've mocked this man a lot in recent matches, but he's got oodles of experience and uses it to tuck away a penalty. That's what nearly 100 caps for England buys you. And now, come on, let's have another save from Oliveira. Make himself a hero. He doesn't. It's 2-1 to Burton. They've had 3 penalties. This is our third. So if we score here, we're level. Fernandez straight at the keeper. Knew who scores there. Now we need well, there's no pressure on Oliveira, but we now need him to step up again and keep us in this tie. And he doesn't. It's 3-1. They've got one more penalty remaining. We have 2. And I kind of feel like we should have just brought on a goalkeeper up front in the 89th minute rather than going through all this. To go to these lengths and then still get knocked out is... I mean, that's got to be quite tough on the old motivation. Kieran Kerr must score to keep us in the tournament. He does. Right, now there is a little bit of pressure on Oliveira. If he can pull off a save, then whoever our 5th penalty taker is has the chance to help us backdoor it. It's the backdooriest of backdoors. At the moment, we're like 3 gates back in the back garden gate. I mean, what? Can he make the save? No. I mean, what was the point of all that then? This has been like 45 minutes of absolute nonsense. We better win the Premier League game now off the back of that, because otherwise I'm going to be furious. Right, a whole load of changes for the Tottenham game, so we're just going to go through the team again, because I can't remember who I've changed for who now. We've got Vujicic in goal, a back 4 of Joksimovic, Ferguson, Riper and Cupler, with Wanda, Caminero and Hayes in midfield, and Fernandes in behind Kerr and Jones. It was a bit of a coin flip between Fernandes and Nuhu, but I've gone for 7.54 being better than 7.23. I'm actually interested to see that Wanda's not in the best form of his career, but obviously he is our... Oh, hello. The big money's coming in the summer by the looks of it. How old is he now? 28. He's off to China in the summer. Goodness me. Which could potentially cause problems dynamics-wise for us, because as our team leaders, Wanda, Ferguson and Nuhu, if Wanda's leaving in the summer because the money's coming for him and Ferguson's getting on a bit and doesn't really get in the team anymore, it does mean we're now looking at the point, right, we need a couple of people to step up and become team leaders with Nuhu. Joksimovic maybe, Brodic doesn't really get in the team regularly anymore. Riper would be an obvious one, but we do need some more players to start coming through. We don't want to be back in the situation we were in before Wanda arrived, where we didn't have any team leaders at all because they'd all disappeared at the same time, because it was the old guard of the likes of James Ball and Josh Sawyer all moving on at the same time, which, looking back, goodness me, was that an important moment in this save. Right, let's get into the game. Yes, we want to do free flowing, etc, etc, but what we really want... Oh, look at that league table. Look at it. If we win this match, we must be playing before everybody else, so we're the lunchtime kickoff. If we win this match, we'll just for a moment be top of the league, which would be, I mean, imagine, just end the save there. It's never going to get better than that point, surely. But of course, we do have to get past Tottenham first. Where are Tottenham in the league? Tottenham down in 8th place, but they always seem to score lots of goals against us, so we do need to be on our toes. Fernandes out to Jones. Jones crosses to Kerr. Kerr, 2 bites of the cherry and can't beat the Tottenham goalkeeper. And that's always been my worry about Kieran Kerr. And that's why one of those players that we were talking about before, one of the new signings that we need, it's got to be a striker. We've got to have someone up there with Jones. And I am a little bit worried about Jones as well. Not because of how he's playing. He's the best striker in the country. But both Manchester United and Chelsea now want him, obviously, because he's 22, he's English, and he's the Premier League's top scorer. Why wouldn't they want him? Obviously, if he goes, it'll be for a huge amount of money, but it's also going to be close to impossible for me to stop him going. I would say even if we won the league, I think he'd still go to Manchester United and get in a mood if we didn't sell him, because we've never played in the Champions League. Why would he stay here unless he's incredibly loyal? Jones can't quite beat his man. Joksimovic has picked up a knock. I think we've got Stratenovic on the bench if we need him. I hope to not have to need him. But Tottenham are coming forward here, and it's a ball over the top, and we've seen that happen a million times. But Vujicic makes the save, and that's what didn't used to happen back in the Robbie Nadat days. Surely... What's this? Vujicic's 4th year with us now. He's got to replace Nadat in our all-time first 11 at some point, hasn't he? And saves like that are only going to stand in his favour for doing that. We actually had a media report the other day with Robbie Nadat commenting on one of our players, and he's moved into that previous legends who talks about us in the media. Even though he's not even on the favoured personnel list, but I guess because he's played so many games for us and because he's in the all-time best 11. He's one of those people like Dan Fisher, like Josh Sawyer, who the media go to, because most of the other legends are in in our youth coaching setup somewhere, the likes of Ball and who else is down there? Joe Anderson. So there's quite a small pool of players, of ex-players to choose from who either aren't managers or aren't back at the club to offer some opinion. So Nadak gets to do that. Fernandes into Kerr. I think it's time to bring on Nuhu. Nuhu on for Fernandes. 25 minutes to make an impression on the game. And we're also going to bring on Jokic for Kerr. And we're going to just give it 25 minutes of let's mix things up a little bit and try and find a winner, because any dropped points at this stage of the season, especially with City and United both still to play, I think if we drop any points at all, we can forget any ideas about winning the league. So Hayes plays it out to Joksimovic, who is still carrying that knock. Wanda plays it back into Joksimovic again. Cross comes in. Kerr flicks onto Fernandes, and it's the two players I'm taking off. I might finally use the button, everybody. The button that flashes up, asking if you still want to carry on with substitutions. I think I'm actually going to click it. I've never done this before. But I can't take... I mean, it's a goal and an assist for the two players who are coming off. They get 5 more minutes. Well, cancel pending changes. We've used the button. Let me know in the comments if you've ever used that button before, because I don't think I have. I'm so excited. Right, now what are we going to do now? I think we're probably still going to make the same 2 changes. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to take off Wanda and bring on Rodrigo and shuffle this midfield around a little bit, because the midfield now becomes a high priority, and just continuing to control the game back there. And also, we haven't got Sretenovic on the bench. I'm going to leave Joksimovic on, and I'm still going to take off Kieran Kerr and bring on Jokic, but Nuhu can wait a minute, because obviously Fernandes scored the goal. It would be harsh to whip him off straight away, but at the same time, in a match like this, I don't necessarily want to bring Nuhu on in the midfield 3, because we're trying to control that midfield 3, and as much fun as it is having Nuhu on the pitch to take our free kicks and whatnot, he's not as comfortable in central midfield as Rodrigo is, as an example. Right, we are still going to bring him on though. After all that, we've still got to get Nuhu onto the pitch. Caminero can come off. Nuhu can go and play as a roaming playmaker. And he's there purely to take free kicks. If we get a free kick on the edge of the area, Nuhu will just stick it in the top corner for us. And that's something that might prove very handy in these final 10 minutes. I mean, he's not a bad player in central midfield. He's there's every chance he'll end up being a central midfielder for us anyway if he sticks around. Here he is, running from deep. Nuhu to Hayes. Fernandes. Forward to Jokic. Back to Nuhu, sitting deep. Look at that. Finds Jokic again. And Joksimovic is there for support. But Jokic squares it. Jones. 2 opportunities. And that's the second time in this match we've had a play. Kerr had a very similar chance to that in the first half, where the keeper absolutely fluffed it, but somehow couldn't turn in the second opportunity either. Fernandes now. Space to run into, finds Joksimovic. We've got players in the middle. Cross comes in. Jones is there and scores, because Charlie Jones is just a goal machine. I love Charlie Jones as much as I loved Dan Fisher. It's been so long since we've had a prolific striker. As much fun as Nuhu is, there's nothing quite like having a big number 9 who's going to score goals like that. And we've not had one since Dan Fisher. But Charlie Jones, he even wears the number 9. He is the man now. And what an important goal. We are top of the league. Imagine being a Nuneaton fan in the Sir Tom Elliott Arena as this match draws to a close. I mean, you've completed football at that point. You don't need to ever play another game. We could just stop and now wait for FM19, because we're top of the Premier League with 7 games to go. And it doesn't matter if we end up winning it now, because we've always got this screenshot. Oh, there it is. Look, what a beautiful thing. Wow. It's on, boys and girls. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.